Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and my wife put some boneless ribs in the crock pot this morning, and I am already thinking about that for dinner this evening. I just took a peek at it, and it's really got the taste buds already thinking about that. Hey, I wanted to start out by showing you this market this morning. By the way, it's pouring raining here. I had to go get in my car this morning, and it is pouring. But we're at 280 billion, and the XRP is at around 27. It's been right around 28 cents. I hope it stays right there because I'm plowing. I guess some of these guys call it getting another bag. Well, I'm gonna get another bag this morning, and so I hope the price stays right where it is. But not a lot going on in the market. It's just kind of slow right this second. I wanted to go over this because this is happening today. This is why I'm showing you this. They're not paying me to tell you about this. I'm not even participating because I can't. This is not open to Canadian or U.S. residents, but I wanted to show it to you because these guys are the first guys that are deploying a digital asset, and they've built this whole ecosystem on the XRP ledger, and so I wanted to make you aware of it. This is Sologenic, our IEO. That's an initial exchange offering, which means it's a token that's being offered from an exchange. Their exchange is Coinfield. Coinfield is in Canada, but still, this particular token will only be available to other residents, and I'll show you some of those countries here in a second. Our IEO is starting tomorrow, which is today. They tweeted this yesterday. And they've got a thing where you can make sure you're signed up, fund your account, participate. I think this starts at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. And I just wanted to briefly show you what they've done. They've created a solo wallet, which can contain XRP and the solo token, as well as you're going to be able to buy, you won't be able to buy them yet, but coming up, you'll be able to buy tokenized stocks. You'll be able to go out of this solo token into, say, for example, a Tesla stock or a Facebook stock. But it's a pretty cool thing to be able to, this is really probably one of the first times this has happened in the world. So that is an exciting thing. Now that's the app that they created. This is the coinomics of the solo token itself. There's going to be 400 million. You're going to have this tokenized assets. You'll be able to flow in and out of the solo token into those. The sale is coming out at 25 cents. That could go up or down when the market comes out today when it starts. There is a burn mechanism. There's only 400 million tokens ever, and there's a burn mechanism, so the 400 million number is only going to go down. It's never going to go up. They've already done the pre-sale, and this is what they're doing today. It's going to start today in the 25th. Initial IEO price is 25 cents, 10% of total supply. Available in 192 countries. Let me show you what some of those are. It says North America. Canada's on here because this includes Canada. Coinfield is open to Canadians, but not this solo token sale. But there's all kinds of countries all over the world that this is open for, and so there's a good chance that in your country you're able to do it. So go check them out. Now, this was the Brad Garlinghouse interview yesterday. There's a couple of guys that put out tweets from some key takeaways because I didn't show the whole videos. This guy says key takeaways from Brad Garlinghouse interview with CNN. Bitcoin will be digital gold. XRP will be used in every corner of the world. Ripple will be Amazon in the digital world. Utility-driven digital assets will prevail in the future. I think that's a pretty good summary. Well, Stuart XRP also, at XRP_Stuart, he also summarized it. Key points from Julia Chatterley interview with Brad Garlinghouse. 1, Ripple will continue to grow and take market share. Focus on cross-border payments today. I think we'll look at other use cases. I hope that in 5 years, We're not just Amazon Books, but we are Amazon. I believe they will be bigger than Amazon, personally. 2, IPO. Having balance sheet flexibility gives us strength to do new things. The MoneyGram deals, we're going to continue to grow. We want to make sure we have that balance of flexibility. If you're a public company, you have a little more flexibility with type of deals you might look at. I think we'll look at other use cases as I kind of alluded earlier. So that's pretty much the summary of what he's got. Now, I wanted to talk to you about this. I showed you yesterday this video, and I'm going to play it again because I think it's so important. This is an excerpt. I think I said it wrong. It's not from an IMF document. This is from an excerpt from James Rickards. I want to show you who James Rickards is. This guy's a big deal, okay? His biography, it says he's an American lawyer, speaker, gold speculator, media commentator, author of Matters of Finance, precious metals expert. He is the author of Currency Wars. Now, this guy is no schlub. Watch this. Rickards graduated Lower Cape from this high school. He graduated from Johns Hopkins University with a BA honors 1974. From Paul A. School of Advanced International Studies in Washington, D.C. with an MA in International Economics. He received his Juris Doctor, which is a law degree, University of Pennsylvania Law School, and an LLM in tax. That's like a graduate degree for lawyers. LLM in taxation from New York University School of Law. General counsel for the hedge fund Long-Term Capital Management. He worked on Wall Street for 35 years. Senior managing director, market intelligence at Omnis Inc. Consulting firm. The guy has, on here it says 2009, he testified before the U.S. House Science Subcommittee on Oversight about the risks of financial modeling. So this guy is plugged in and he's sharp, okay? He's written several books. The excerpt in that video is from this book that he wrote, which is Road to Ruin. He talks, actually, I've got his current book. I actually bought it yesterday. He inspired me to buy it yesterday. And this guy has had conversations behind the scenes with the people that were there, like Timothy Geithner during the financial crisis. He's spoken to people that have run the IMF. There was a guy named Lipsky. This guy has done interviews behind the scenes. He's not just writing this stuff out of nowhere. He knows what the plans are from the IMF. So I'm going to play this again for you because I want it to really sink in. And then I'm going to tie in what I Am Legion, who is one of the best researchers in the XRP community, sent to me, okay? Listen to you. There's not enough times that you can listen to this. Listen to it over and over if you have to. This is from the Global Elites, The Secret Plan for Cryptocurrencies, James Rickards. Listen to this.
They will begin using blockchain to collect taxes and issue electronic invoices to citizens there. Perhaps most portentously, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has weighed in. In a special report dated June 2017, the IMF had this to say about blockchain.
Okay, so I'm sorry, it was from... James Rickards is writing of the IMF report, but he's also, I'm telling you, the guy knows things. He talks to people behind the scenes. Listen up.
Distributed ledger technology, DLT, in particular, could spur change in the financial sector. DLT can be categorized as permissionless or permissioned depending on who can participate in the consensus-driven validation process. Permissionless DLTs allow anyone to read, transact on, and participate in the validation process. These open schemes, that underlie Bitcoin, for instance, could be very disruptive if successfully implemented. By contrast, in permissioned DLTs, the validation process is controlled by a pre-selected group of participants.
Pre-selected group of participants, folks. Think IMF members. Now, and also think consortium, because think about all these consortiums. This is what I Am Legion brought to my attention. I showed you the bank consortium in India, and I showed you the Japanese bank consortium, which was formed by SBI Ripple Asia. SBI Holdings bought 10.5% of Ripple. We're going to go down the road of R3 because I Am Legion brought that back to my attention. But I want to show you, let you go ahead and listen to the rest of this. But I want you to remember this consortium word.
Consortium, or managed by one organization, fully private, and thus serve more as a common communications platform. Emphasis added. IMF releases require expert translation because they are never written in plain English, and the real meaning is always hidden between the lines. But, the thrust of this report language is clear. The IMF favors permissioned systems over open schemes. The IMF also favors control by a pre-selected group of participants or one organization, rather than allowing anyone to participate.
Exactly. A pre-selected, as in pre-allocation, as in what Brad Combs has talked about, as in what I believe. I didn't believe it a long time ago, but I do believe it. Think about this for a minute, folks. This is one of the Bitcoin maximals. It's one of their core arguments about why they hate XRP. They call it the banker's coin. Well, being the banker's coin is a good thing. They call it the banker's coin, and one of the main problems they have always had with Ripple is, oh, well, they own all the XRP. Well, guess what, folks? Go look. You look up in the history books, type in the word antitrust. Anytime any company in the United States has ever gotten bordering on too big, look up Microsoft, anyone, the United States government immediately starts talking about breaking these companies up. If you believe, and look, I can't prove this to you. I'm just telling you what my lifelong experience has taught me. If you believe, and another movie you want to go watch where same type thing is, go watch The Aviator with Leonardo DiCaprio. Howard Hughes was a mega wealthy guy back in the day. They tried to do the same thing to him. But the United States government, no governments of the world is going to let one company become more powerful than a country, okay? So I've always felt like that XRP that is supposedly all held by Ripple would somehow, some way be allocated amongst a lot of some or donated or something and some organization. But this all just comes together in my mind now, and it took me since 2013 to think what I think. All right, let's finish listening to this.
This paper should be viewed as the first step in the IMF's plan to migrate its existing form of world money, the special drawing right or SDR, onto a DLT platform controlled by the IMF. In time, all other forms of money would be banned.
In time, let's say that again. In time, all other forms of money would be banned. You can't make this stuff up, folks. Now, here's what as I told you, I showed you the Japanese Bank Consortium, and I showed you the Indian Bank Consortium. Well, I Am Legions told me it was a great video. He said, but you're looking at the wrong consortium. And he's right. There's another consortium that is extremely important to be looked at. And I'm really talking to a lot of you who haven't been watching us, who haven't been in the XRP community for the last couple of years. These guys like I Am Legion, they're veterans. They know what's going on. But I didn't bring R3 into the mix, and it has to be brought into the mix because we all believe that R3 is pretty much the core platform that's going to facilitate all this. Here you go. I think the correct consortium is R3. Why? Because about 63% of board members in SWIFT is also R3 members. Besides, there's more international industry and industry mix in R3. These are SWIFT members that are also R3 members. You'll recognize a lot of names. Bank of Canada is one of them. Credit Suisse, Commerce Bank, Mitsubishi, UFJ, BNB Paribas, Deutsche Bank, and then he goes on. Also remember who has done all the projects, and he gives another list. All R3 projects, many involving central banks, and then he's put this up here. The consortium started in September 15th, 2015 with 9 financial companies. Names all of these companies. On September 29th, 2015, an additional 13 financial companies joined. Bank of America, a Ripple partner. BNY Mellon, a Ripple partner, I believe. Look at these names. HSBC as well. Morgan Stanley, National Australia Bank, Royal Bank of Canada. Can't say those names. Toronto Dominion Bank. All right, and then it goes on. wrote, new additions are a sign the industry is gathering behind R3 in one potential implementation of distributed ledger technology behind the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, which they have totally wrong. It's not Bitcoin, and I'll show you why. Well, let's look further. This is mainly for those of you that haven't been around. Have you heard of the R3 Corda settler? This is from back on December 5th, 2018. R3 is proud to announce the release of Corda Settler, an open source Corda DApp or DApp that allows Corda users to settle using any payment method. The first payment rail enabled for Corda Settler and the first cryptocurrency, not Bitcoin, is the XRP ledger. Read the press release here. And if you go here, this is their press release. R3, the world's leading developer of enterprise blockchain solutions for business, today launched this Corda Settler, an application purpose-built to allow for payment obligations raised on the Corda blockchain platform to be made through any of the world's payment systems, both traditional and blockchain-based. XRP is the first globally recognized cryptocurrency to be supported by the settler, bringing the Corda and XRP ecosystem into closer alignment. Okay. We've even got a video we can show you. This is how R3 Corda Settler works. Watch this, folks.
Okay, hello and welcome to the demonstration of Corda Settler, the open source Corda app built to help Corda users settle transactions on any rail. Transactions usually refer to an exchange of one asset for another. One leg of the transaction creates an obligation to complete the other leg. Corda Settler allows users to complete that second leg on any system, whether that's a non-blockchain rail, a cryptocurrency system, or on Corda directly. If the second leg is not on Corda, it just needs to provide two integration points, one for users to initiate payments and another to confirm payment status. The following animation will show a network of participants using Corda Settler. Company A and Company B are the counterparties. They are using a notary service on Corda, and they both have access to nodes in other payment systems. For this demo, XRP is the chosen payments rail. This animation will be available as a click-through on r3.com. From a transaction on Corda, Company B has an obligation to pay Company A $100. As the beneficiary, Company A can choose the currency in which they'd like to be paid. In this case, Company A chooses XRP. To update the obligation, Company A will get the current exchange rate from an exchange rate oracle, and then update the obligation with the new currency and amount. Having made these changes, Company A obtains a signature from the notary service and distributes the obligation to Company B. Corda Settler also allows users to add additional terms, such as the desired payment address on the XRP network. Company A updates the obligation again and distributes it. Company B is now ready to settle this obligation, and so initiates a transaction from their XRP node. This obligation can be settled in one or many transactions. Company B gets a payment submission confirmation from the XRP network, updates the obligation with the transaction hash, and sends it to Company A and the settlement oracle. Now the settlement oracle knows which transaction reference to query for completion. The settlement oracle queries the XRP network for the status of transactions with the specified transaction ID. When Company B's payment has been confirmed, the settlement oracle marks the obligation settled, obtains a notary signature, and distributes the updated obligation to Company A and Company B. The obligation is now settled, and the counterparties have completed the second leg of their transaction. This has shown an important link between assets and applications on Corda and other settlement systems. We're excited to enable additional settlement rails over the next few months. Thanks for watching.
There you go, folks. I mean, all of this stuff has been in the works. This is from 2018, and I believe that the larger plan has been in the works since 2015 and even earlier than that. If you remember, the Federal Reserve Chairman of the United States said that the United States has been working on digital currencies for the last 2 decades. 2 decades. So, and then finally, I want to show you this again because this is the CTO against the backdrop of everything I just showed you. For some reason, the CTO of R3 is under an NDA and he can't even talk about Ripple. This is from Darren
Still working
Moore.
with Ripple at all? as a company? I know that there was, some extracurricular, activity that was working its way through the courts, but and it's since been resolved. But I'm curious if there's ongoing discussions, since one of their primary focus is on the interbank settlement component that you're also touching.
So, frankly, Ripple's probably the only topic I can't talk about. So I just don't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it.
And the genesis for this call, really,
yeah,
you're at least.
Well, the good news is the digital asset investor can talk about it, but he can't talk about it, and I don't blame him. I completely understand why he can't talk about it. It's you can't make this stuff up, folks. And I talk, for those of you that don't know, I talk behind the scenes on the phone with a lot of people that are in this space, and let me tell you, and I say this all the time on the phone with people. I've gone over all this in my head since 2013, and I've read and seen videos and everything. And the smartest people in this space, the smartest people that I talk to behind the scenes, the smartest people that I know, all come to the same conclusion, and that is that this isn't just some digital asset that we're watching coin market cap on. This is a much larger plan, and that it's been planned for a much longer time. And in my opinion, all roads lead to the IMF and the use of XRP for settlement on a much grander scale than just a bunch of individual people speculating on XRP. That is me talking. That's not Ripple talking. Anyway, moving along. XRP Crypto Wolf. Russia's central bank proposed a legal token framework for tokenization of assets. The Central Bank of Russia has successfully piloted a platform that allows users to tokenize assets, including equities and currencies, and issue them to investors. By the way, I want to apologize. Another long video. There are so many new people coming in, and I am trying to educate as many people as I can as they come into this space. And there's when the market gets exciting, more information starts surfacing, and that's just the way it is. Sorry. Okay, Chinu Patel at Chinu Patel 29. Dave Jones sent this, and he makes a very, this was something he tweeted, and he makes a very good point. 54 million or 7.5% in total of remittances from USD to Mexican peso were XRP powered just last week. That is $2 billion of extra volume yearly for the appointed exchange. That is also attracting market makers, and that is just one corridor for one client only. That is one corridor for MoneyGram, folks. One, right? One. And we've seen that in a week. And I believe that a lot of the price movement that happened, the positive price movement that happened in XRP was related to it. That's what I believe. Okay, Captain Fredrickson sent me this. I haven't checked in with John McAfee in a while, but I wanted to show you. This is from Block TV. John McAfee has said that there won't be a Binance in 2 years. Listen to him.
What Binance says, I could care less. In 2 years, there will not be a Binance. There will not be any centralized exchanges.
There won't be any centralized exchanges. I think that exactly the opposite is going to happen. Now, I'm not smoking what John McAfee is smoking. Maybe I should be, but I believe the exact opposite is going to happen. I believe the crackdown on crypto is going to involve only having centralized exchanges, and I believe that they're going to have to be KYC, and those on-ramps and off-ramps are going to be strictly controlled, and that's how they're going to control crypto. And so I think he's wrong about that, and I think he's wrong about Binance specifically as well. Now, before I cover this tweet, I want to make sure you understand, I am not commenting on this at all, okay? I'm not telling you anything about these kind of outlandish prices. The only reason I'm showing you this tweet is to give this guy credit, because he he brought a very important point to my attention. They are shaking people out. We all know what's coming sooner or later. Expect the unexpected. Now, the important thing, and I'll show you, this is what jumped out at me. What you're looking at is the Xrp Rich List. And he's showing the top 0.01% of XRP holders and how that top 0.01% is going up while the other categories of holders is going down. So I went to confirm this, and he's right. He took the chart. It's the right thing. The top 0.01%, and I think we're reading this right, is growing. Now, what does that tell you? When I see that, that tells me that the wealthiest of the wealthy are accumulating while a lot of the lower tier holders are selling XRP. That's the way I read this. Now, maybe I'm reading it wrong, but that's the way I see this, is that the people in this group are accumulating. That tells me a lot. If I'm reading that right, that tells me a whole lot, and it should tell you as well. Okay, Michelle Vandenberg sent me this. Now, I'm not going to say this word because the word is a dirty word on YouTube, apparently. You know what word I'm talking about. But Maddie Greenspan says, and what I want you to see now, folks, and I'm not trying to scare you, but we know this economy, the world economy is a disaster waiting to happen. And I've told you that all that it takes is a flashpoint, one thing. Now, I don't know if this that's going on is that thing, but there's a good chance that it is. And I'm going to show you a string of things, and then I want to make a point to a lot of you that could be affected by this. So it begins. iPhones aren't the only thing made in China. In the coming days and weeks, we'll learn of many more supply chain disruptions. Retailers will likely be forced to raise prices quickly, causing massive levels of inflation. Now remember, during inflation, you want your investments in something that goes up because there's a limited amount. Hence XRP. There will only be 100 billion. Hence Bitcoin. There will only be 21 million. Or gold or silver, those type of things. Now, there's other guys making points. There's other articles out today. Look at this, XRP BART, right? Central Bank of China pumps 300 billion yuan into the financial system, cuts loan rates. And then there's this, Reuters, Nissan CEO sees earnings cash flow under pressure for current financial year. And then there's this. Now, folks, this is where all of this ends, and this is why I want to make this point with you. HSBC to cut 35,000 jobs. They got a picture of a person here in a mask. HSBC to cut 35,000 jobs, shed 100 billion in assets as profits plunge. Now, look, listen to me closely, folks. I'm not talking about this for my health. I'm talking about what's coming, the financial collapse that's coming. I believe that the digital asset space was literally created to roll the financial system into its savior, the digital asset system. And I believe XRP is at the forefront of that. There are two things that are a part of that movement that I believe are going to change the world. The first is the tokenization of assets. And the second is to be able to hold these digital assets that are in limited amounts in your retirement accounts. I think those two things are going to be a massive thing. Now, I've gone and done the research. There are many of you listening to my voice, and if you are, now this only applies really to the United States because I don't know how the laws of this work in other countries, but if you're listening to my voice and you are someone who is worried about being laid off or is being laid off, you don't have to do all of it. You can do like I did and did some of your retirement. What I did is I rolled and what you can do is you can roll, let's say you got laid off tomorrow, you're able to roll your 401k or a small portion of it. I don't even necessarily recommend rolling the whole thing. You can roll a small portion of it into an IRA that buys digital assets directly. Then your digital assets are either growing tax-free or tax-deferred, just like your stocks or whatever were in your thing. And I found iTrustCapital, and this is what I did. I have a Roth IRA, and I added funds to the Roth IRA opened with iTrustCapital. Doesn't matter who you look for. Nobody does it as inexpensively as iTrustCapital. But this is a video specifically for those of you that are facing layoffs. If you wanted to roll a portion of what you have into one of these IRAs. And before I play the video, I wanted to mention to you, I worked a deal with these guys in the description of all my videos where you can get your first month free. These guys only charge like $29.95 a month instead of hitting you with 10% of the money you're investing in all that business. These guys are being very reasonable, and they're good people, and that's why I use them. And I by the way, I also made phone calls to all of the people, their custody people, their trust people, and their attorneys before I ever invested my money. I did my due diligence. But watch this video. So if you're someone who is potentially looking at being laid off, or you have been laid off and you're sitting there with a 401k that you have to roll them somewhere. You could roll a portion to a Charles Schwab or a Fidelity, and then roll a small portion to this, or a half and half, whatever you want to do. Watch this video.
Rollover from an employer plan. If you have a retirement account from a past employer, you will be able to roll it over to a new IRA without a taxable event or any penalties. Some rollovers may be initiated through an online account or done over the phone with your current plan sponsor. You'll simply let them know you have a new IRA and would like to initiate a rollover. They'll assist in setting up a method to roll over the funds to your new IRA.
So there you go. iTrustCapital rollover. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe and hit the like button, and tell your friends and family that if they do get laid off, and if they do want to grow digital assets in a tax-deferred or tax-free manner, that iTrustCapital is the one that I use. That's the one I recommend. Their fees are it's less expensive than anywhere I've seen. And this, this is one of those things. As I used to be a financial advisor, and this thing really, this particular company really is a company that I believe in, and I think it could help a lot of people. Thank you for listening.